once you get the right student in front of you, it's also about how you move forward to support that student, connect them to the right kinds of resources on your campus. Will you speak more to that kind of secret sauce of both being able to determine who needs help when, and then also connecting, using your human experience and your professionalism as an advisor to get the student connected to the right kind of care that they need to be successful?
Yeah, that's funny. I've actually got a little bit of a funny story with that. During my time at the University of Michigan, I was asked to come over and do some of the appreciative advising framework philosophy with our advisors inside of the College of Mechanical Engineering. And so they had an advising team, mechanical engineering in Michigan, pretty large area. And so we went in and we did the first phase, which is disarm, and did the second phase, which was discover. And we were going to do these on like a monthly cadence, right? And shortly after we did the second session on discover, I got a little bit of a panicked email from the person leading the advising center and said, "Oh my God, it's working. We don't know what to do now. Like, please come over and let's do these all so we know how to have these kind of conversations," right? And so I think about that a lot, Katie, with the way that our software works. There's a predictive tool, predictive analytic to it. And that helps to signal that something's going on and helps us get that student into the advising seat. But then when that student shows up, the advising process has to take over. So when I kind of talked about creating the expectations and then training, in those creating expectations, in those training components for advisors is going to be what's the approach that we're going to take as an advising team, whether it's an appreciative approach or a proactive or intrusive or developmental, motivational interviewing, all different kinds of styles that people will use to work with students. That's really, once that student gets in front of you, that's when the secret sauce. So you were kind of talking about, right? It was hey, we got him in the door. Now we need to have a meaningful conversation. And I was 22 years old, my first year of advising. I was looking at a transcript, and young lady had a wonderful fall, not very good spring, wonderful fall in sophomore year, and then a not a very good semester the following spring. I was kind of looking at it, and the student had come in, and I said, "Hey, you were 3.5 in the fall, and then barely above a 2, and then above a 3.5 the next fall, and below almost near a 2.0." And she goes, "Well, yeah, that's when I was diagnosed with cancer, and that's when it came back." And I'm like, "Oh my word," right? And so when we're training and we're having conversations with our advising teams, we need to help them be ready for those kinds of conversations, because Katie, that's the reality of the world that we live in, especially as we're hopefully through most of the pandemic at this point. But we're going to hear more and more of those kinds of challenges with mental health and wellness, challenges with food insecurity, challenges with homelessness. And those frameworks, those philosophical advising frameworks, when they're taught to advising teams, allow them to have really fruitful conversations. And so, after that student said to me, "Well, that's when I had cancer and that's when it came back," what I said next mattered a lot. Right? Or how I handled that conversation mattered a lot. And so one of the things we talk in the advising world is making really good referrals too, right? So I think one of the things that if you're an advisor and you happen to be listening to this and you're newer in the field, please hear me loud and clear. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to do it all. What you need to become is an expert at referrals. And so making sure that that student feels heard, that they understand that the space that they're in is a safe space, that you're thankful that they shared that kind of information. But maybe a trip over to the counseling center would be relevant to go and kind of work through what that is and work on mental health and wellness. And they can have that part of the university supporting, and then we can support with what we do on the advising side. But I think sometimes early in people's fields or early in their advising experience, they can feel like they've got to do it all instead of utilizing those resources out on a campus. But I think what we need to continue to think about is create the expectation, train the expectation, use the software that we have to become efficient. But then remember, when those students come into those spaces, those are human beings, and we need to make sure that we're ready to have sometimes really difficult conversations, but that we're comfortable in the work that we're doing as advisors, that we can then, some of those things we'll be able to handle ourselves in the advising space, but many times we'll need to create some connections to partners on our campus to fully support the student.
Yeah, there's a beautiful balance between the having empathy and seeing your student and then lovingly guiding them to the right resource in a way that helps support them. Um, it's not um, it's not passing the buck. I think sometimes I would have advisors feel like they were passing the buck. And I think when done well, it's an art. It's the art of advising. It's not passing the buck. It's connecting students to the broad community of care on a campus that's there to help them. And it's understanding what works for students and what kinds of interventions and programming is available to help students reach their goals, despite a wide range of ways that they may need support. I know more and more campuses are offering a broad range of support.